Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is more than just a makeup tutorial. It's not really a tutorial, I guess. It's just a full face of rare beauty, while also honoring something very close to my heart, something that I truly believe in, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. As many of you know, Rare Beauty was founded by Selena Gomez, not only as a makeup brand, but as a movement. And it was basically built on breaking down, I guess, unrealistic beauty standards and making mental health a daily practice, a daily conversation. Come join me as I blend, buff, and bake, I guess, without the baking, and reflect on just having an honest and open conversation when it comes to my own mental health, my own experiences, to hopefully make people feel like they're not alone, even just one person. Let's get started. I'm doing a full face of Rare Beauty, and I am currently wearing their hydrating under eye patches, which are very cooling and very hydrating. You know, some of these eye patches, I swear, are just like jelly and cold. But these actually brighten your under eyes, which I love, and they don't slide down your face. Look at that. I'm gonna start with the Pore Diffusing Primer. I haven't used this yet, though I got this a long time ago, so I'm gonna try it now. Definitely feel the smoothness from the get-go without it feeling heavy. Like, I don't necessarily have to put just a little tiny bit like I do with that Smashbox primer. Like with that, I have to be very careful not to overdo it. But with this, I feel like it just feels almost like water. Let's talk about my favorite eye primer. Literally, I only use this. I've tried all of them. Basically gives your eyeshadow or whatever you're gonna put on your eyes some grip. Love this because it's universal. So they only have one shade, but it just glides on like jelly. Because I have discoloration on my eyelid, I'm sure people can relate to this, and especially as I have matured, I have like veins that you can see. So it's really important when, you know, putting eyeshadow on, you want to start with a clean foundation. I truly still believe that everybody should at least have access to some sort of therapy, life coach, or somebody who isn't in their immediate circle of friends and family, because it is very important to get a non-biased opinion and just to have someone, just maybe a physical body, be there and just listen. Sometimes our thoughts can get the best of us and they can really spiral out of control. You know, when it comes to talking to loved ones, obviously, you know, you just don't know when a good time is, but when you have to pay somebody for their time to listen, it at least gives you an outlet to just let it all out so that you don't keep your feelings or thoughts inside your brain and then spiral and go down a rabbit hole that nobody wants to go down. Now I'm gonna try for the first time Rare Beauty's Illuminating Primer Base Illuminator. I'm gonna be obviously using as well their Rare Beauty's foundation, which is light to medium coverage. Now, if it were thicker, like a Fenty type foundation, let's say, that is more heavy duty, I wouldn't use this because they would just be in waste, because you put an illuminator or anything that illuminates on your skin so that it shines through the foundation. But look how beautiful and glowy. This is not greasy whatsoever, which is so amazing. Feels like silk against my skin right now. Okay, we're gonna do some underpainting with one of my favorites, Rare Beauty. This is their bronzer stick in the shade Good Energy. What I love about this is, first of all, I'm just so impressed with this brand and how great these products are. Like, I wouldn't even know the difference, let's say, between, let's say, not so clean product versus this. Like, it is long wearing, long lasting, it blends in like a dream, it's creamy, it's blendable, warming it up on the back of my hand, as you should with any type of bronzer, because what you don't want is a clump of just brown. Just on the top of my cheeks a little bit. You know, as far as energy goes, since we're on the topic of energy, I think it's important to put out what you want to receive. So whether you want to call it manifesting or just energy, because that's what we are. Energy is contagious. So it's a responsibility, I think, as human beings to be the best version of yourself that you can be when stepping outside of your house. Like, you could do whatever you want behind closed doors, honestly. It all starts with you, by leading by example and not just preaching it. Right, Cheryl? Right. I was talking to myself there. So now that I have my bronzer on, we're gonna start building the base and the complexion. So this is their Liquid Touch Weightless Foundation. So right away you're like, okay, well, this is not gonna be so heavy duty. In shades 260N and 270N. I am gonna first start with the lighter shade, which is 260N, and do so on my T-zone. I'm just gonna start out by dotting the least, like there's barely any product on here, just so you know, FYI. This is something I just learned, and I tried this last night and it worked beautifully. I'm using Rare Beauty's setting spray. Check this out. You're welcome. It works for my concealer, no fine lines, no weird creasing happening. I just love how they just label all of their products with encouraging and thoughtful labels like hope, worthy. I feel like this foundation in particular, in a way, is such like a metaphor of not trying to like cover up or hide behind anything, whether that be makeup or what we think people want us to be. All right, so my foundation is complete, my skin is glowy, and now you know why. Brightener, this is in shade Light. So this does the job as far as brightener goes, and it's not too cakey, because I know there's other brands out there. I'm gonna just do this to avoid putting too much product on my face. Perfect mix, I think, between concealing and brightening. People with mature skin, holla. We're trying to avoid layering. The more layers, the more cakiness. Over the close to 25 years I've been in therapy, and I just, from seeing my comments, unfortunately, on other platforms lately, people are like, oh, she definitely needs to go to therapy. That's not to be thrown around, as far as like, therapy doesn't equal psychotic. Therapy equals, wow, this person is really taking accountability and is wanting to be better. The best time to actually go to therapy, FYI, is when you think you don't need it, because then you can actually process everything, because you're never done working on yourself. You can always be better. Okay, so my complexion is done. I'm gonna go in with their other liquid contour bronzer type product. I have the shade Solace. Just going over where I put the bronzer a little bit, since I'm wanting to go more of that earthy tone bronzy look. Warm up the product. Let's start here. Definitely goes on like butter. Now to the fun part. We're gonna put some liquid blush. I'm gonna start with the travel size. How cute is this? Liquid blush in the shade Virtue. A little goes a long way is the topic of today's video. 1, 2. For now, we can always build. 1, 2. Okay, just blending by tapping in the product. Those 2 little dots went a very long way. And here is what the regular size looks like. Makeup expires, and I would assume that, especially when it comes to vegan products, since there's no added preservatives or chemicals in this, it probably definitely goes bad in about 12 months. So I don't know, I would say save your money and get the travel size of everything, because there's a lot of product in there. So that's just the first layer of the liquid blush. I'm gonna put a little bit of their liquid highlighter. Yeehaw. So these are 2 different colors. They actually gifted me this. Thank you, Rare Beauty. This is in the shade Transcend. This is a liquid luminizer, along with the travel size I got for myself in the shade Flaunt. Let's first start with the darker. One of the best things I ever did as far as my mental health goes was really learning how to sit in silence and sit with myself without fear of the silence and fear of the loneliness, especially through my you know, divorce and just my life changing in general. Because if any of you guys can relate, if you've ever dealt with any type of childhood trauma or trauma in general, sometimes your normal is chaos. And for me, that's what it was, until I consciously decided to change it by, in a way, having to train myself to sit in stillness through meditation, to really give myself grace for even trying to do something that I was so opposed to doing in the past, which was sit in silence without my cell phone, and start to realize that nothing outside of us will ever keep us alive but ourselves, our breath. Deep, but the reality. Rare Beauty's Brow Precision Pen in the shade Cool Brown. What I love about just the applicator is the weight, and it's dual-ended like most eyebrow pencils. However, this, when doing that to it, let's say without the cap on, doesn't fall out like others do. However, what I don't love about this, to be in all transparency, is how creamy it is. I do love a pencil, like a pencil that is a little bit more on the ashier, not the color tone, but like that's harder to apply. But when it comes to Rare Beauty's brow gel, this is the only brow gel, for me at least, and I think a lot of people can agree, that doesn't turn clumpy, that doesn't peel, that doesn't have a white cast to it. It's great. Okay, so I'm basically done with my brows. I like to focus really on more of the arch when it comes to like creamy products like this. Rare Beauty, do you have a tinted one? Like, let's do some tinted wax eyebrow gel action. That'd be great, thanks. And also an eyelash curler, that'd be great, thanks. Best mascara in the business, which is another Rare Beauty product. This is just called Black Mascara. Love how simple yet effective this is. Even my like natural eyelashes, this thing right here creates a volume and it doesn't clump. I'm already putting too much on. Okay, anywho. So I ended up putting 2 eyelash clusters from Velour Self Stick lashes, just because we're going for that like smoky bronzy look. This is a great base to use before, you know, applying, whether it's eyeshadow you're gonna apply or another shade in an eyeshadow stick. But Rare Beauty has some great ones. This is in the shade Well-Being. I just love their packaging, seems super like luxurious. So I'm just gonna put this, basically just use it kind of as a base. And then I'm gonna put a similar like eyeshadow from the Give Yourself Grace palette. Huh, how fitting, eh? That is something I definitely still need to, and will forever need to work on, is giving myself grace. I think we are our own harshest critics. I think the inner voice could definitely use some tuning up, if you know what I mean. The self-talk, for me at least, it gets really mean in there. I'm gonna put Well-Being. This is the shadow stick. I'm gonna put this and focus it mainly in the inner corner of the eyelid. I just love Rare Beauty's eyeshadow sticks. Not only are they easy to blend, they do dry quite quickly, so that's the one thing that you need to be obviously aware of. And just make sure you pat and tap in the product as opposed to, well, especially when working in the inner corner. I mean, you could definitely spread it out and blend it, but I would do that more with the darker colors. The second eyeshadow stick I'm using is in shade Adventure. So I'm just gonna put this as like a sideways V, and I'm going to blend right away, but focusing mainly on the outer corner of the eye. This shade here, Joy, it's definitely the transition shade, not the sparkly, or yeah, no, this one, not that one. You just want to use it like as a blending transition shade, which I think really helps. Okay, let's move on to some of the final steps, which is blush. This is one of my favorite blushes as of today. This is Rare Beauty's Worth. This is super underrated. It's like a matte for sure, but there's like a little liquidy vibe to it. So you just have to be really careful because of the pigment. But I just love how it's like reminds me of like peach iced tea, like spring, summer nights when it's like really hot at nighttime and you pour yourself a nice cup of iced tea. Look how gorgeous this is. Totally matches my eyeshadow. As I blend here, I just want to share another thought, one of my last ones for this video as far as celebrating mental health awareness goes. Just like makeup can even out kind of our skin tone, I guess you can say. Sometimes, you know, we put a polished face to mask what's really going inside. I know I'm good at that because as an entertainer, the show must go on. But just because someone looks put together doesn't mean that they're not struggling. And we just never know the full story of what anyone's going through. You only know your story. So let's really try and, I guess my point with this is to lead with kindness, lead with compassion, lead with empathy. More importantly, to practice kindness towards yourself. And though I'm trying to lead by example, I will, as you now know, be a forever work in progress. Just know that every human being alive on this planet is also a work in progress, whether they want to admit it or not. So as I finish my full face of Rare Beauty, which I am absolutely obsessed with, I am going to apply my lipstick. This is in the shade Fun. This is Rare Beauty's matte lipstick. I'm using a lipstick brush. Mental health awareness isn't just about talking, it's about action. For me lately, that's been looking like setting boundaries, saying no without guilt, and finding safety within me to then share my vulnerability with all of you. Choosing whatever makes me feel whole and at peace. Kind of like makeup in a way, because this is a very therapeutic thing that I've been really into lately, along with storytelling, basically like this moment with you right now. Next, I'm gonna apply this amazing lip liner. The best thing about this, no sharpening needed. It's retractable, and I'm definitely gonna be taking this with me for my sister's wedding. The countdown has officially begun, OMG. This is the shade Gifted. It's like a warm rose. It's so smooth. Literally, you could actually just wear this as a lipstick, put some like lip oil on top of it and call it a day. I hope that I am being of service to anybody who may feel alone. And I hope that me opening up and telling my story makes people just understand that we all have our own personal experiences, but definitely share similar stories. So I'm gonna end this video with putting Rare Beauty's lip oil in shade Hope. Excited to try this out. Oh, it's so refreshing. But it's also gonna dry down as like a matte oil, yet still give the hydration of your lips that they need. Okay, and I'm gonna lock it all in. My fave. So this is the final look, a full face of Rare Beauty. I am so in love with this look, and I'm definitely going to be doing it most likely maybe for my sister's wedding. This is basically great for daytime and nighttime. So thanks again to Rare Beauty for sending me a few of their products. I just want to thank you guys so much for being here, for watching, and for holding space for both beauty and vulnerability. It's a beautiful thing. Happy Mental Health Awareness Month. And remember, sharing your story could actually save a life. So I hope this inspired you in some way to open up and be vulnerable and just know that you're not alone, whether that is something you needed to hear or whether it's something you're going to now spread throughout your community. Until next time, love you. Bye.